Welcome to Obi-Wan Studios, and today I will be reviewing the 75394 Imperial Star Destroyer, which released August 1st for $160 as part of the 25th anniversary of LEGO Star Wars. This Star Destroyer set has 1,555 pieces and 7 total minifigures, the first being the 25th Anniversary Cal Kestis, and then the remaining 6 are actually designed for this set. We have Darth Vader, Commander Praji, an Imperial crew member, an Imperial gunner, an Imperial Navy trooper, and a Stormtrooper, making for a lot of variety with this set, which I think is a pretty cool concept. When it comes to this set's box art, man, I think LEGO really nailed this one. The lighter blue color of the space behind the Star Destroyer almost looks like a bit of a nebula in there. It just looks so good, especially in contrast with the blue-silver color scheme for the 25th anniversary branding. The back of the box shows the Star Destroyer on Corellia, which I assume is just being finished completed in the shipyards, so you can kind of imagine building it in the shipyards, and then once it's done, it's flying out to space, which just is a cool concept to think about. And I think that was a really cool choice for the design of the back of the box's scene. The backside also features highlights of the set's functions and some of the interior details. Alright, it's time to open up this Imperial Star Destroyer, and as always, if you enjoy my reviews and want to support the channel, please hit that subscribe button as it truly helps my channel grow. Now let's open up this Star Destroyer. With the box open, we find that the sticker sheet and instructions are actually inside of a cardboard sleeve, which is always appreciated when LEGO does this just to protect everything. The sticker sheet isn't that large for the set either, which is nice, but this is just an indicator that we won't get a lot of printed pieces with this build, or really any for that matter. As far as the bags are concerned, we have a total of 14, almost too many to lay out on my table. Starting off with all of our minifigures first, we have Darth Vader. This is just the best Darth Vader LEGO has ever made. We've seen him a lot in sets at this point, but he really doesn't need any changes. I could see the argument for making him just a little bit more accurate to a specific episode, for example, but he's pretty much just perfect as an all-around really good Darth Vader. His two-piece helmet mold I think just looks awesome, and under it we have a really great Vader face. His body printing looks very good as it extends through his waist and legs. Taking the cape off, which is a regular style of LEGO cape, which just isn't as good as that new softer one that we've started to see with certain minifigures like the new Jedi Bob. Turning him around, we have the back of the head print and a good look at the back body print as well. Lastly, we have that great looking arm printing on him too. The current version of Darth Vader I just think is so awesome. Moving on to Commander Praji, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his name, but he is our Imperial officer, just a named version of one that we get in this set, which is a pretty cool and unique thing. I think his hat looks really good with the printing on it. Same with his face print. That hat doesn't extend all the way down to cover up a second face print, so we just get the one on him, but I think that's obviously the best look for our Imperial officer. The body printing is very simple, but it looks good overall. There's no waist or leg printing, but there really didn't need to be, so I don't see this as a downside for him. Turning him around, you can also see we have a decent looking back print. He's a good minifig overall. There's nothing crazy to him, but he looks good nonetheless. Our next minifig is an Imperial crew member. He has the exact same hat as the officer and features just one face print as well due to the same issue of the hat not being able to cover up that face print. I'm not sure overall if I personally like the black kind of primary lines that go against his gray uniform as the main outline, but that's just my personal opinion. The rest of the printing overall I think looks very good, and on him we do get waist and leg printing as well. It just looks very sharp in contrast on the main kind of gray color scheme. The back printing looks pretty good too, and overall just a nice minifig to get with the Star Destroyer. Turning to arguably I think my favorite minifig in this set that's at least based on the Star Destroyer, the Imperial Gunner. This minifig's design just looks so good. The helmet is utterly fantastic. I absolutely love the shaping of it and the detail in the printing on it. It just looks very, very good. They did such a good job with this helmet's design. Here is what the face print looks like underneath that helmet. just a decent looking face print. And then the body printing on the front torso, waist, and legs looks very sharp as well. So does the back print too, but really it's that helmet that is the star when it comes to this minifig and really just makes it look so good. Our next minifigure is another one with a rather cool helmet design, and it is the Imperial Navy Trooper. We have a really cool looking Imperial Navy helmet to go along with the minifig, which I just overall really like the design of. I do like the face print as well for this minifig. The strap for the helmet that goes underneath the chin looks very sharp, and because the helmet is long enough at the back to cover up a second face print, we do get two different face prints with this one, which is an appreciated addition. We do have basic looking body printing, no waist or leg printing this time around, and a rather simple back print too, but overall I think this is a pretty decent looking minifig. Again though, the helmet design is really the best part. Lastly, we have our Stormtrooper. I've personally just never been a massive fan of the helmet design for these guys. Maybe it's because I grew up with the original design, but this one has never quite looked that right to me. It's too large and bulky, and the fact that you can't actually turn the Stormtrooper's head just has never worked in my opinion. But the Stormtrooper is otherwise great, as we have come to expect. The printing on the helmet in terms of quality is good. Taking it off to quickly give you guys a look at the face printing underneath, it looks nice, and the body printing overall is great too. There's no waist detail, it's just pure white, but we do get very nice leg printing. And then turning the Stormtrooper around, here is a look at the back print, which as always looks pretty good. Overall, this is a good Stormtrooper, just not my most favorite design they could go with for the current Stormtrooper. As to be expected, our minifigs come with blasters and of course that red lightsaber for Darth Vader. The only minifig without a weapon is the Imperial crew member. With the minifigs based on the Star Destroyer set done, let's take a look at our 25th anniversary minifigure, Cal Kestis. And I have to say, I really love this minifig. I think LEGO really nailed Cal's design. He looks very accurate to what we see in Jedi Fallen Order. Now, one common complaint is that he doesn't come with the poncho, but to me, that is not a huge deal, as this is based on his look when you get past the intro of the game and get to Bogano, and this to me is exactly how I'd want Cal to be portrayed. Don't get me wrong, a printed poncho that you could choose to use would have been incredible and have taken him over the top good, but this isn't something that makes this minifig bad by any means. The bigger issue in my opinion is us not getting BD1 with him when young Leia got Lola, but I've made a whole video on that subject already, so I won't get into it anymore here. It's just a shame we didn't get BD1 included with Cal as well. The hairpiece chosen for Cal I think looks really good, and his two face prints I think have captured his overall look really nicely. Cal's body printing is really good overall. Again, it's very accurate to what we see in Jedi Fallen Order, which to me is the most important thing. The print quality itself is really nice too, and it extends down through the waist to his legs, and even a slight feet print as well, which just helps to make the look that much sharper with the feet printing. Turning Cal around, we do have a great looking back print as well. Another detail that I also really like is how they included his glove on his left hand, of course stemming from his work as a scrapper, so it's just another nice detail that was done accurately to his character. Of course, Cal comes with his blue lightsaber and has the printed 25th anniversary R2-D2 logo plate to stand on. Overall, even without BD1 or that poncho, I think he just might be my favorite 25th anniversary minifig of all of them. Taking our minifigs all together, I think the clear intention here was to give you a bit of everything with this set. 0 duplicate minifigs, which depending on your preference is either a good or bad thing, but I think there is a fine number in total in this set. I think giving us like 2 of one of the chosen minifigs would have been a bit more reasonable and just have made this set a little bit better, like 2 Stormtroopers or 2 Imperial crew members, just to get that minifig number up there a little bit more. The First Order Star Destroyer had 6 in total. 1 was a droid, but it still technically had 6, so I'd like to see LEGO just keep getting better and giving us more minifigs, especially as the price goes up with certain styles of sets as well. Obviously, this one does come with Calcastus, bringing the number technically up to 7, and he definitely steals the show as far as the minifigs are concerned, but overall I think just getting 1 more Stormtrooper, 1 more Navy Trooper, or just another duplicate would have just been nice to have made the minifig selection in this set just a little bit better. Now we can take a look at the Star Destroyer build, and it's hard to believe it's been almost a decade since the last playscale Imperial Star Destroyer, but right away you can see how refined this version of it looks. For a playset build, it sure looks fantastic as a display piece. From what I could tell from the box, I knew I would like how this Star Destroyer looked, but having it actually built in front of me, yeah. It just looks really, really good on display. I think the overall shape of it really works and the proportions of the build are super well done for the entire Star Destroyer. Yeah, I'm just surprised this thing looks this good, to be honest. Getting into all of the build's details, starting off at the very front, you can see that this build does suffer from that seam down the very middle of the Star Destroyer. This is just one of those things with LEGO Star Destroyers that we just kind of have to deal with, but I think they did a decent job of trying to make it as minimal and kind of less noticeable as possible. At the very front, we also see how the 4 side panel pieces all come together. This is probably my least favorite part of the design, as the front ends don't quite perfectly hang quite even with each other if you really look at it. That aside though, the way the 4 side pieces are designed is very nice, and I think they sit at that perfect angle to get the shape of the Star Destroyer down. Now, the main bulk of the Star Destroyer doesn't have a lot to the actual detailing when it comes to the exterior. You have some pieces kind of scattered throughout, like these ingot pieces that just help add some detail and some shaping to it. But for the most part, the midsection and the bridge is where we have all of the kind of detailing that comes with the Star Destroyer build. On each side of the midsection, we have the 4 turbo laser cannons, which through this brick-built piece that sticks out of the very back of this entire section, you can push and pull it to turn the cannons. It also keeps them facing the same direction, which always looks very good, especially when you're trying to display the Star Destroyer. Having it kind of manually line them all up is always a pain, so this pin piece actually just keeps them all facing in the exact same direction. The pin pieces do stick out a little bit even when they're pushed in all the way, but that's just a necessity of the play feature, and it blends in pretty nicely and doesn't look that bad in my opinion. Then near the top of the very front of the midsection, we have 2 spring-loaded shooters. They are fired by these little Technic levers you push down on that are blended in pretty well to the top of this kind of section here. Overall, the whole mechanism, I'd say, is just integrated into the Star Destroyer rather nicely. On the very top as well, we have these 2 hatch pieces that open up to reveal the carrying handle for the set. It works well, but it definitely is a bit snug to actually reach in and grab the handle, that's for sure. But I do like how the handle is completely hidden when not in use, instead of being a blemish on top of the Star Destroyer. The Malevolence is one that always comes to mind, where that handle just sticks out a little bit too much for my liking. But between the handle and the spring-loaded shooters being integrated into the design of the Star Destroyer really nicely, it just helps this build keep its display factor while having all of these different play features. The last part of the midsection's design that I really like is the use of the transparent studs to help create the look of more space and overall texture in this part. It's very overlooked, I feel, when it comes to the Star Destroyer's design, but I just really appreciate just the little extra details here. The bridge area is probably my favorite looking part on this Star Destroyer. I think the shape looks so good, and I'm surprised they were even able to make it look this nice at this size and scale, specifically for this version of the Star Destroyer. It does have our only exterior sticker on it as well, right in the middle of the bridge, and even though it does have some gaps to the way they structured it, I think it was a necessity to actually getting the shaping down right, and LEGO did try and have the gaps covered up as much as possible, but I think it still looks overall pretty great from the front angle with those little gaps there. I just love how the bridge looks. The spine of the bridge is also shaped really nicely, and it's really smooth looking, which I do like. Then we have the engine section at the bottom, which stands out so well with those transparent light blue pieces for the thrust for the main engines. One part about the design here that I found rather interesting is how you attach these plate pieces into clips to get the shaping of them and just kind of them at an upright angle. It's just a building technique I didn't totally expect to have with this build, but it does work really well here. Of course, our Star Destroyer has some interior space to it. In order to access the interior, you lift off the midsection, as it's not actually attached right in by any studs or connection points. It just kind of sits in the spot, so you kind of pull it out and up, and then you can open up the side panels to the side to get full interior access. Now, the main interior section of the Star Destroyer is one whole large area with a few different sections to it. On the right side, there is what certainly appears to be some sort of medical bay with a syringe on the wall and then a little desk and chair that can rotate around. Then we have 2 crates for some storage on the back right side. We have a few thermal detonators in one with the Empire logo on the sides of it, and then a pair of white binoculars in the other. In the middle of the back, we have these 4 stickers that make up some screens. The 2 center ones on the transparent blue pieces look especially good. You have the Star Destroyer on the one and some of the TIE fighters on the other. This would be the command room. On the left back side, we have this really odd and colorful looking build. LEGO on the website calls it a kyber crystal kind of area, I guess. It looks very odd, but it's cool. Then at the front left, we have another section with a control panel, wall storage for a little jar build, more clips for weapons you can see in this area too, and then a small mouse droid build also, and I assume this is what they mean when they say the break room. There are also 2 more stickers in kind of the main interior area overall as well, one on each side of the front part. The first one is just some screens for extra detail, and the other has what looks like C-3PO and R2-D2 on it, a pretty cool nod to A New Hope, if you ask me. Then the very front section of the interior is what represents the bridge's interior, but just in the front of the Star Destroyer. We have a lot of stickers overall in this area, but they do add some nice detail as you would expect. And then 3 small printed control panels also, just for a little bit more extra detail on that back wall. There is the main walkway of the bridge where you can put Darth Vader on it, and then space for some other minifigs in the section kind of down below. One quirk with the design here is that the left seat doesn't line up with the stickered control section. This is just something I noticed when trying to get shots of the minifigs down below the main walkway. So obviously a minifig looks the best in the seat where he can actually face a stickered control panel, but just one odd quirk with the bridge. Lastly, as far as the interior is concerned, here's a better look at the carrying handle mechanism now that that kind of midsection is taken off of it. And we are going to discuss the build stability here before I give my final thoughts on the set. But first, here's how the large side panels actually fold back up. There are 2 points where they bend, so you can have the smaller lower section at the angle up and away from the center of the build, and then the main top section folds back down towards the middle just to create that overall shape. And I really like the way it was designed, and I thought to show you guys that just in a little bit more detail. Now, as far as stability, this Star Destroyer is absolutely solid. You can confidently pick it up and move it around. And as you guys can see, I'm moving it around rather quickly, and even if you shake it, it's not really going to rattle. That top midsection does kind of move a tiny bit because it's not actually physically held in, but for the entire design of it, it's super solid, and I don't think the carrying handle was needed at all, especially with just how snug it is to actually access. Is it nice to have? Of course, but when you just design a build to be this solid, I don't think it should be added in there. The only consolation here is that the handle is hidden away very nicely, so it's not like we have a unnecessary blemish on top of the build. So overall, what can I say? This set, I really do like it a lot. For $160, I don't think this set is priced for incredible value for money, but it isn't overpriced either, which you can't say that about most of the August 1st wave of LEGO Star Wars sets, unfortunately. I think on sale, it's a no-brainer purchase if you don't own any Star Destroyer set at all. Plus, it truly is the best looking Star Destroyer, save for the UCS version, of course. The minifigs are rather good too, and thinking of it as a variety pack in this set for the fact that you get a lot of cool different Imperial minifigs is just a huge plus in my opinion. I would rather have gotten the variety rather than less variety and just more duplicates. I still think one more minifig would have made this selection over the top good. Of course, if you want all of the 25th anniversary minifigs, you'll want Calcastus from the set, but at least he does come with a really great Star Destroyer, the best playscale Star Destroyer LEGO has ever made. Thank you for watching my review on the 75394 Imperial Star Destroyer. If you enjoyed the review, don't forget to leave a like, let me know your thoughts on the set in the comments down below, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to support my reviews, and lastly, don't forget to check out my YouTube channel for more LEGO Star Wars set reviews.